All right, man. Well, let's get into fishing then. Let's get into our fishing topic, which I didn't even introduce in the intro, which I usually do or don't. But I mean, it's a fucking podcast. So you read the title. You already know what the shit's about.
That's
We're
right.
going to talk about budget fishing in
That's
our
right.
fishing topic. And then we're going to flip over to the random take, which, you know, for anybody who's listening is more or less the like rounding us out. Me and Tim are people and we like shit other than fishing. Fishing's a common bond.
That's right.
But we like to talk about other things. So, you know, we like to show that to you guys also. And we like to talk. But
That's right.
random take is going to be about buyer's remorse. That's not the topic right now. We're talking about budget fishing. These are pretty intertwined because there has to be something that you've bought budget wise and still had buyer's remorse, or should I say that you've seen as a budget buy and then realize like, damn, I should have waited to buy that on budget because I paid too much for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's kick off with that, Tim. Is like, has there been like that one purchase in fishing where you're just like, why did I do that? Because I knew it was going to go on budget. Have you had that really happen to you? Because I've had it, not in fishing, but I've had it happen.
I don't know specific. I can't really think of many like specific things where it was like, oh, I could have waited. You know,
Yeah,
like a little bit of not necessarily buyer's remorse, but like just upset at how it didn't go the right way. Like if you go and watch our YouTube video, the boat that I have in there is called a Sears Game Fisher. Sears made this little tiny boat. It is a 2-person, like a pontoon boat that like had a baby with a paddle boat. It's just like a plastic. It can hold like 550 pounds, and it's not a bad boat at all. But I initially was trying to buy a Pelican bass. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a bass.
Shoot, I thought I was going to have it too because I remember when you were going through this. I don't have the name, but it was a bass something. It was some sort of bass, like it very much referenced bass fishing.
Yeah, Bass Raider. Bass Raider is what it was called.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, and so it would have been like a brand new version. And it was only like $150 more or something than this used one that I bought. But then COVID hit, and plastics and all this stupid stuff, and I was never able to get it.
Yep.
And I bought this one, and now I see the brand new ones, and I'm like, it would be pretty sweet to have a brand new one, you know, and not this. Like this one's fine, but like there was a sticker on the back that said "Bad Boy," and the sun had like faded it through, so like I peeled off the sticker, and it permanently has like it's permanently still says "Bad Boy." I'm just like, oh, damn. And like a Sam's Goody like sticker, like who was this person?
Too bad it didn't say Bad Boys, and you could just be like, I don't know, I'm a big Will Smith and Martin Lawrence fan. Like, it's good shit.
Right. Just yeah. Then it becomes like staple. I'd just be like walking down to the landing. Bad boys. People would be like, what are you doing? It's just like bad boys, bro. So yeah, no, I can't, because I am like a budget fisherman. The most of the time I like when I pull the trigger on something that's full price, it's because it's one of those items that just never goes on sale because it's quality and they don't get them on sale. But no, I can't think of much besides like my other boats that have like shit out on me, and now I'm just like, I don't ever want to buy used again. So
sure. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. But at the same time, we are talking budget fishing, so we'll keep talking used. We'll talk used boats more, right? So you make a really good point, because we've talked about how expensive fishing is in the past. Like we have a very reoccurring topic of like, hobbies are fucking expensive, dude.
Right. For sure.
Fishing is no exception. But this is our topic to like sort of redeem that in a way, to be like, hey, it doesn't have to be. And yeah, buying used can suck, but you're kicking us off on the perfect topic because this is huge right now. Gas prices are fucking out of control. Like, who knows where it's going to stop right now, right?
Right.
And there is a huge move to the small boats.
Mm-hmm.
And you did this during COVID because of the availability, like tack on any pandemic difficulty
Right,
you
right.
want to that. And it makes this perfect transition to like small boats. You already are a small boat. Tell us more about the small boat, not struggle that you went through, but like how that budget fishing, like how did that happen because of budget fishing? Like, what are the tips?
Well,
You get where I'm going?
right, yeah, yeah. So I mean, what it first started with, like, you can even they have like small gas motors, which is not something that I was
Mm,
initially thinking about putting on there.
mhm.
But I was like, it is a possibility that down the road, maybe, because you can get like 2 or 3 horse motors that are very small and then
Holy
like have a
shit.
little tiny gas tank and stuff. So you can
Dude,
get
I'm sorry to
what
interrupt, but are these sometimes I see like bigger fishing boats or maybe even a bass boat where they have the
oh
big like 500 and then
yeah.
there's a tiny little one next to it?
So that's not a bass boat. And bass boats don't
Okay,
have those ever. Those are always like
ever.
walleye boats because that's a kicker engine. And sometimes it'll be on like
Okay,
a musky
different
boat as
topic.
well because what they can do, well, that kind of falls into budget fishing as well. What they
Okay,
it First off, they can drive at a lower speed for like uh you it's a lot easier to go slow with that little tiny motor.
of
Like the
course.
big motors, even at idle, you can go pretty fast, but that one you can dial it in to getting closer to the exact speed you want.
Okay,
And having that gas motor, like some dudes will troll where they have the rods set up and you're just pulling stuff along the weed line or wherever you happen to be,
sure. Okay.
and you're driving all day. And when you're driving all day, those I think are normally around like 10 horsepower, like 8.8 or 9 or whatever.
Oh, so the motor that you're talking about for the little boat is smaller.
Way smaller still, yeah, but those
Whoa.
ones get a lot better gas mileage, and, like, some of these boats have 250 horse motor,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of idling a 250 horse motor, you're running an 8 horse motor, and
Right.
that's saving a lot of gas. So that's,
Right.
like, kind of a budget thing, but
For sure.
I don't know how much you have to use it to make your, extra 5 to $6,000
That
make
the
sense.
motor itself
Yeah.
costs it, right? Yeah. So what about these little engine I don't even think I've ever seen one of these engines that you're talking about.
Yeah, so these little gas motors, I think you can get them. I think they're around like $500 or $600 most of the time, because
Mhm.
basically what they are is it's almost the same thing as like an ice auger, like a gas-powered ice auger, like the
Of cour
same little
yeah, I
motor.
was thinking lawnmower, but
Yeah,
yeah, ice auger
so
is the
yeah, it
perfect
even kinda
association with
sounds the
fishing.
same. Some of them that are small, like, they'll be the pull start, and then you take off, and you just hear that "wee." So so you'll take off in those, and you can have your gas motor on, and it'll get you going a little bit faster than your electric motor, and you don't have to worry about killing the battery as you're driving. That's kind of your
Right. Right.
motoring motor to get across the lake wherever you're going, and then you can
Okay.
put your trolling motor down and take your time. But
Mhm.
yeah, the what really happened was, as I alluded to before, I've had shit luck with used boats because
Mm.
I've never really had a lot of money to play with. So I was like, well, I'll just get this used boat, because I always thought too, like, I would like to get a better boat down the road. And in
Mhm.
Minnesota, there's always people fishing. And when you
Right.
have these used boats, most of the time, it's an investment. Like, boats don't
Mhm.
lose their value. You can buy a
Right.
boat for what you pay for it, and
Right. Right.
and then sell it for the same thing, down the road.
Mhm.
So I would
Mhm.
buy I'm like, I'll buy this Alumacraft, and it was this little boat, and I'll have it for a while, and then I'll sell that off. And then that one, the lower unit goes out and the boat shits out. And I've talked about it before, so I don't have to get into it. And then
Right.
I go, damn
Right.
it. And I sell it for pennies on the dollar to like some guy that knows how to weld and can fix the motor. And here's your fixer upper so he can turn around and sell it and make money off of it.
Right, right, but
And then
you need that skill set, and it was originally like a budget move, knowing you can use it, get shit done, and then sell it for damn near what you bought it
Right,
for
yeah, yep, and then
after
have
you've
that
had time to save up, and then you take that money back, right?
exactly, yep,
And
and then
build
go
on
to
it.
the next one, but basically
Yeah.
what happened was that one shit out, and then I had about enough money to replace that, and I ended up finding a older boat, and it was a bigger bass boat, and, I was like, "This one should be dope," everything seems
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
When I went to look at it, it, like, fired up right away, and, uh, I drove 5.5 hours to go pick it up, so I kinda got screwed over in that regard 'cause, um, when I went to start it myself, clearly didn't start up right away. This dude just had it warmed up before I got there.
Ah,
And, it turned out, like, after I didn't know how to do compression tests and stuff myself, so it turned out that the compression was off down the road,
yeah.
like, it was on the verge of wearing out, and then it wore out, and then that motor was shit, and then, you know, 150 horse motor is a lot of
Expensive.
money to fix. So then
Right,
that one
right.
again was, like, sold for pennies on the dollar, and then you get to a point where you're just like, "Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this little tiny boat
Yeah.
that I know isn't gonna shit out on me." And that's where it came out,
Right, right,
where I'm
right.
like, I can't not be on the water. I have to be on the water, and I was like, "My parents have a boat, so I'll be able to fish with them a lot too, but for around here, I want this." So
Mhm.
and I was trying to think of, like, what, budget friendly, what I could do, and I'm a bigger dude. When you look at kayaks and stuff, to get
Mhm.
something that could hold the amount of weight that I was looking to hold, because I wanted to have a trolling motor and everything. I didn't,
Okay.
set
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
It was way more money to get
Sure.
a full size big kayak than it was to get this. So I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get this. I'm gonna get this foot pedal. I'm gonna get this trolling motor. That's gonna be my whole motor. Like, it was under $1,000, and I have a boat that I can fish pretty much anywhere and gets up to like 4.5 miles an hour. So I have
Right.
time. It takes a while to get across the lake if I'm trying to drive, but
Right.
like, yeah, that's where the budget really came in, where it was like I have a boat that's a setup that's not gonna shit out on me,
Right.
and you know that's really where the budget came in, and that's why I ended up
Yeah.
going used. I had that one on sale, is
Mhm.
why it really sucked that I wasn't able to get that Bass Raider, because they
Yeah.
launched a sale, and I'm like, "Yeah, give it to me," and then I sat on a waiting list forever, and then they just go, "Yeah, you're not gonna get it." I was like, "What?
No.
What do you mean I'm not gonna get it?" And they're just like,
So
You
sorry, buddy. We
yeah,
don't
they're
have
like, "You"
your boat.
yeah, they're like, "You could try again if you want." What do you mean? Like, try again?
What
Like,
does that mean?
I'll just, like, get on a waiting list again? They're like, "Yeah, get on a waiting list, and if we
Yeah.
get one, we give you one." So I can wait another 6 months for you to maybe just say the same shit and be like, "Yeah, you can try
Right. So
again
you
if you
pulled
want."
right. So you just pulled the trigger on the one, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
And kayaks, like I looked up some kayaks, and you can, 200 bucks, you could get yourself a real cheap ass kayak, or probably more like $700. You have to, and that's not a motor. That's just like brand new. And
Yeah.
there's even bigger ones than that for sure.
Oh,
But don't
yeah,
forget
and
about, like, I know this, accessories. You have
yeah.
for fishing, a kayak is not a fishing vessel. You have to do things to it. And also, I don't know if you knew this, but if it's 10 feet or over in Minnesota, you still have to register it too. So you
Right.
have to like deal with the tax man. So
Yeah, my boat has, the licensing and everything because it's 10 foot. And they
mm,
do
mhm.
have
And you
kayaks that
but
are
yeah, even you have to do that with a kayak even, like, it's non-motorized.
right,
So
right.
what? If you get
Yep.
that 10-foot kayak and that what you're probably gonna end up in, right? Like, don't forget, there's
Yeah.
another layer to
And
this, and so
yeah. And they do have kayaks that are pretty well equipped for fishing, like, straight out of the gate, but
okay.
those are expensive. Like, Hobby makes some of those.
They're not budget fishing.
I'm talking, like, if you have one that you're buying, like, with the motor or with the paddles, because some of them have the feet pedals or whatever,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
you're
I know what
you're
you're talking
talking
about. They're like a
thousands.
bike almost, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
you're talking thousands.
Yeah, okay. Mhm.
And that's just the bare minimum. You're not talking about, like, storage to hold your stuff, because then you got to get, like, They make like milk crates looking things to hold your gear in and stuff. So you're talking all
Mm-hmm.
this other stuff that you got to
Sure,
get.
sure. Yeah.
But
No,
and
I
there's
love
if
that
you're
because
looking at kayaks, I was going to say there are weight limits. You got to check that out too, because it's not just the weight of you; it's the weight plus all your gear. So you got to figure out
right.
what you're looking at.
Yeah, don't underestimate the weight of your fishing gear.
Right? Yeah, I got a
Damn
lot of
good
shit
point,
that I
dude.
like to
Damn
bring
good
with
point.
me.
That's a really good point. So, yeah, I mean is that's great advice about boats, and it's just such a big thing right now, the small boat thing because of gas prices, right? I mean, the 200, like you said, you got 250 horses, that thing's just guzzling.
Right? Yeah.
Plus the truck to get it to the landing, right? Like
Oh yeah.
pulling that thing
Yep.
in and out of the water.
Yeah,
Catch it
because
on a windy day. Damn it.
if you have a big motor on your boat, then your boat's big, and then you need to have something to be able to pull it. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
it can get up there quick. So on a that's the only thing that sucks is like a windy day. You kind of need to have all that stuff, but it's like I don't
Mhm,
know.
mhm,
These days with the gas prices,
mhm.
do what you can to set up your day so you're just having the wind push you.
Good damn point. And let it push you and use the trolling motor as much as you can. So far, electricity is still cheaper. Um,
Right,
but
right. Yeah,
so
charging up the batteries isn't that bad.
right. The the one thing that I want to wrap this topic on, or the boat topic on, obviously we're not
Yeah,
wrapping the topic yet, is
right.
the small motors that you talked about.
Yeah.
Um, what does that look like? Because you talked about the boat, you talked about the small boat, right? Like
Yep.
go out and look for these small sort of pontoon hybrid things. Pelican's got one, look
Mhm.
for used because well, they don't have a motor if it's not cracked and it's not sun rotted and whatever, right?
Right.
Like if the boat looks good, it's gonna fucking float. I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, I mean,
when it comes to the motors, like I've never even seen one of these tiny motors. I don't know where the fuck even start. Like,
oh,
is
yeah,
there
you can order them online or
okay?
I think they sell
Sure.
them at, like, Fleet Farm and stuff. I think,
Mm,
the
mhm.
most common one, I think Coleman makes them. You know, like the lantern people?
Really?
Yeah, they make, like, little tiny motors, like, little tiny boat motors. I don't know why
Interesting.
Coleman is like, "Yeah,
Huh.
we make lanterns and motors, but nothing over 3 horsepower." You're like,
Like,
"Okay, whatever, Coleman." You know?
oh, oh, okay. Do you even make
Yeah.
generators? Like, I don't think you do because I think a generator has to be like minimum 5 horse to be effective.
Yeah, dude, I don't maybe they do make a generator too? I don't know, it's real weird, like, I just know that they make lanterns, and then all of a sudden you just see, like, "Oh, there's Coleman makes a boat motor?"
Weird. Right. Okay. Interesting. Just look up tiny boat motor.
Right, yeah, because there's some other brands, I read some reviews and stuff, I was looking into it, there's some other brands where they're not pretty, like, Coleman's is, like, a nice casing and stuff, and it looks like a little boat motor, and the other
Gotcha.
ones are just kinda looks like, like an auger. It just
Oh,
looks like that
it looks
motor.
like they literally took the auger off and turned it 90 degrees.
Yeah, like, just
So it
kinda looks
propels
like
the
that
boat
motor, and it's
forward
got
instead
it's
of
like the
drills down through the ice.
yeah, exactly, there's just like the different, on the bottom. It's they're kinda weird, but I read some
That's
reviews
wild.
and people are just like, "Oh, this motor's awesome," you know?
Sure.
So, it
KK.
they're different, but for sure they're gonna save you some money, you know? You
Yeah.
know it's gonna save you money when some of those boat motors have a gas tank on it that's like 1 gallon on the top. That's what it's made for. It's
Dude.
just like they're like,
Yep.
Will
Good
get
tip.
you
Good
a gallon
fucking
will get you
tip.
going."
So I don't know where you want to go right now, but I'm ready to go into the clearance rack because
Oh, for sure. Let's
I
do it.
have some experience with the clearance rack being IT electronics and stuff like that. I worked at Target Electronics for a little while.
Yes. Yep.
So I, I've always got the hot tip of when the seasons change, it's going to be the time to go to the clearance rack. And by seasons for me personally, right? Like as an IT person, you
Yep.
you follow the company. The companies have
Okay.
seasons. That does that sound fucking stupid? Do I need to explain that a little bit? Probably
I
should.
think a little, yeah, I'm a little bit
So like
So
Apple has and I'm gonna just make up months right now. I have a pretty vague understanding, but it's like, okay, so spring is
sure.
Apple season where they drop their computers. So you always look for just before spring, right? Like
Okay.
right after the holidays, just before spring. And I may be inaccurate right now. I'm a little bit out of sorts with it, but it's
Yeah.
always in those early first quarter. You go look for an Apple computer. Apple never puts anything on clearance, but follow me on the story.
Yep, I got you.
You always go then because that's when the deals are going to be to try to sell off the other stuff before the new shit comes out. And in the
Okay.
fall, they do their mobile shit. And Samsung, they always do their mobile shit soon after the new year. Like fiscal year is March. So they drop first fucking quarter. Pff, here comes all the new
Yeah.
Samsung shit. It's like if you watch that, companies have seasons, they have patterns, and you can just
Right.
figure it out, and then you can go and you can play the game. Like right now,
Yep. Yep.
it's summer. Summer is when all the new games get revealed.
Yeah.
Tons of games go on sale because everybody's super hyped for the new
On the new
games.
stuff.
So they sell the current games, they put them on sale
Yeah.
to feed into the hype, right? Like
Right.
that's the clearance rack to me as a tech
Yep.
person.
That
Does
makes
this
sense.
apply to fishing?
Yeah, but not if it does apply in the same aspect of like this brand does this and that brand does that, I'm not aware of that. But
Mm-hmm.
it does go based off of seasons.
It
Like
does.
Shields is a really good one
Yeah.
to go to for like your ice fishing and stuff
Can I ask one
because
second? Do you know if
yeah,
Shields is nationwide?
they are nationwide or you're
No, are
asking?
they? Do you know if they are?
I don't think I want to say like Shields is like a Midwestern thing. Like I
Oh,
think they
okay.
have a lot of stores, but I don't think
Okay.
it goes throughout the whole. Like Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops are really big. Like
Right.
those
In
are
the whole
everywhere.
country.
Yeah,
Right.
those are everywhere. I
Yep.
think Cabela's was a little bit more like
Okay.
Midwestern too, but then they got bought by Bass Pro Shops, so now they're all
Right. Now
intertwined,
they're
and I don't
everywhere.
know.
Yep. Yep.
But
I understand.
um,
I just wanted to give the context of like, yeah, okay, it's like a Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's or something, just different.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, for
like a
sure. Okay.
Shields and this is just a good thing to keep out on any of your local bait shops. Like if you know you got a spot that you go to, just keep an eye out because
Sure, sure.
Fleet Farm doesn't seem to like mark down their prices as much as like as a whole.
Okay.
But when it hits like late winter,
Yeah.
the shields that I have for sure because they convert like 3 or 4 aisles into ice fishing stuff.
Holy
All
shit.
that stuff has to go to make room for summer stuff. So
Oh, so you like
they
you
mark
know these
down
transition
everything.
aisles, so knowing your local spot is also a hot budget tip.
Yes, yeah, because
Yeah,
they're
dude,
like,
good
well,
one.
we gotta. It's getting close to spring. We gotta get rid of. Let's do our
Yeah,
best to get rid of as much of this as we can, so we can
right.
put less away for
Yeah,
next year. So
right.
none of it has any problems with it. They're just like everything's on sale.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
like 30% off, and you're just like, fuck yeah, 30% off. Like
Right,
you think
right.
about how many, eh, if you're buying 10 lures, thirty
Yep.
percent off that's like 3 free.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. That's a great way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
for
awesome.
sure.
So
Yeah.
and so when you're talking clearance racks, like you were saying, the different um manufacturers do whatever.
Mhm.
Keep an eye on that because maybe that's a real thing that they do. But for me, I know what the different stores around here do.
Right.
And for like Fleet Farm and stuff, they always have their bargain bins. That's another thing. Look for a bargain bin everywhere you go. Almost all of them have a bargain bin.
That's
And Fleet
awesome.
Farm, there's always like 2 bargain bins you go over, and there's
Mhm.
just Runnings has bargain bins. They'll have just like there's like color coded stuff on Fleet Farm
Yeah.
is how they do it. They're color coded stuff, and
Yeah.
depending on the color on the packaging.
Yep.
shows how much percent off that you're taking. So
Right.
I'm just like digging through there, finding stuff like this will
Yep.
work, this will work, this will work. You go in like with an intention of like 2 lures and you end up leaving with a ton of shit. You're like, I didn't even pay that much for this stuff. Like this is awesome. And it's all just kind of knowing what you plan on doing. It might not be what
Yeah.
you're going to do right then. It's like
Yeah.
planning ahead helps tons because then it's
That's
like, I know I'll use
yep.
this eventually, and this
Right.
eventually. I'm going to get it now cheap when nobody else is looking at it.
That's exactly what I was getting when you started this off. I was like, it's the forward thinking that
Yes.
is really key to the budget fishing game
Yeah.
right now, from what I'm hearing
Right.
from you.
Right.
It's that
Yep.
forward thinking is like, oh, go get this ice shit, even though you maybe can't use it
Mm-hmm.
this year. Think about the
Right.
fact that you just bought 3 for the price of 2, or,
Yeah. And it's for everything when it comes
Okay.
to ice fishing. Like if you watch,
Mhm.
most of the gear goes on sale and like the rod holders. I know that there was
Oh,
like this
are you
nice
when you say
thick
gear,
knee
you
pad,
talking like fucking gloves and
gloves, rods, everything. I was getting
wow.
everything at discounts. I wait till the end of the season and start just buying everything.
Buy it
Everything.
up.
Like Shields is awesome for that. Like almost
Nice.
everything they have goes on sale. It's crazy. It hits the end
That
of the season
is
and they're just like everything's on sale. So
plan
some
for
of
next
that's
year or plan for next season. That's like, that is what
right.
I'm hearing about the clearance rack when it comes to fishing. Plan for next season.
Yep. Yep.
It's sometimes
Yeah.
really hard to hold back, but just think of play the long game, dude. Play the long game.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you're gonna play the long game, you can save so much money.
Sure.
So, but when it comes to like now, currently, if you're trying to save some money, and again, like if you have, it's kind of like going to like an Aldi. Like if you have a
Mm.
specific,
Mhm.
like I need to get these ingredients to make this dish, you might
Yeah.
not be able to get the deal. But if you pay attention, you just buy when you see stuff going cheap, or you're just like, I need
Mhm.
some lures,
Mhm.
and you see stuff that you know you'll eventually use, get it when
Mhm.
you see it on the price. And so when you go to Fleet Farm, they have this is my favorite. They have orange tags is the price tags of
Yep.
everything. They're all
Yep.
orange, right?
Mhm.
They put yellow tags on the stuff that is either on sale or getting discontinued. So
Oh shit.
I start going up and down the aisles just looking for yellow tags, and when I see a yellow tag, I stop and I look at it and I go, yeah, either I just like, sweet, or pass.
Yep.
And sometimes I get beat to the punch where I hit the yellow tag and I'm just like, oh, damn it. They're all gone because it was like too good of a deal.
Oh,
Like
right.
they're just cleared out.
Yep. Yep. And that's when you know, like, oh damn, hot deal there.
Yeah. And when they're hot deals, like the shit goes quick. Like you got to pay attention to the sales and stuff. I know earlier this season, Callan's has some nice jig heads that I use a lot, and they had the live bait ones.
Callan's is
Those,
a lure brand.
yeah, it's like a lure brand, soft plastic brand. It's like
Okay.
a yellow
Mhm.
packaging with like blue lettering, and it's
Okay.
like a last name. So it's like
Yep.
Callan's, like with a apostrophe S.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Okay.
and so they're the live bait jig. So like it's a shorter shank because you're made to put like a minnow on it or whatever, not a fake bait.
Mm, mhm.
And those things are a 3-pack, and those 3-packs sell for like 460.
Okay.
And early this spring, they had a deal that was 5 for 10. 5
Whoa,
packs for
dude.
$10. Yeah, and those packs sell for like 460 a pack.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that
you
was
just really do the quick math and it's 2 for 10.
yeah.
Like
It was
rounding up, by the way. That's rounding up. Like
right.
you have to do
Right.
yeah, take that
Yeah,
into
yeah, so
the
regular
quick back
yeah,
of the napkin, like brain in the moment trying to process this at the store as
right.
quick as possible. You just do
Yep.
that. Round up.
Yeah, so
Oh,
if
shit.
you guys I understood what you said, but if you weren't following, Josh is saying like regular price, it's 2 for 10. Sale, 5 packs for 10, you know? So it's like that stuff where like you might not be using those live bait jigs all the time, but if you do use those live bait jigs, go buy you 10 packs cuz 10 packs, 3 jigs in a pack,
Mhm,
that's 30
mhm,
jigs.
mhm,
That's going to
mhm.
last you a while, and those are
Right.
quality jigs, that's why they're sold
Mhm.
in 3 packs.
Right.
So it's stuff like that, but those yellow tags are awesome to be finding, and they have those on their lures. And then also, like, I found that each fleet farm is different, and they're under new ownership, so it's kind of getting cleaned up. But
Yeah.
before, they used to have like these, it was almost like these doors, like hinged
Mhm.
things that had all the rods and stuff, and you could
Mhm.
move them. And I would just keep flipping through there looking for the special price tags until I found one. And then I'd look at the rod and I'd be like, I could use this or I couldn't, and I'd find it cheap. And I just did it again.
Yeah.
They have like a separate rack. So that's one thing where you just got to kind of scour and figure out where it is in your store. But there was one that's like a center
Yeah,
rack where
yeah.
they have like these rods that are discounted for whatever. And I
Mhm.
literally told myself earlier in the season I started off, Shakespeare makes a rod called an ugly stick. And it was the
Yep.
first fishing rod I ever had, like first legit fishing rod. And I say legit, it's not like I spent a lot of money on it. It was like $35 for just the rod, which was
Yeah.
like, when you first start out, that's crazy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
spending
Oh, for sure.
$35 on just the rod. Like, you're only supposed to spend $30 on the whole combo.
Right.
But so I got, it was like a two-piece rod, and I loved it. Like, I learned how to really fish with that. It was like a medium light. It was like the first one where it had like different power and stuff, where I'm really starting to learn how fishing rods are different. Like, this is
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
different than anything I've used. It's got good backbone, and I can, use it to work the bait differently and stuff.
Right. Mhm.
So Ugly Stick came out with a carbon, and it's like a red rod, and they have one piece and two piece, but the one piece rods are like $80. Like, they're legit, like
Oh,
lightweight, like nice rods
dude.
now. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
that was my first rod. Like, I need another spinning rod, and that's the one. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I like the way it's set up. Like, I want to try that rod out. And for
Yeah.
$80, I'm like, if I can find this on sale, I know it's a nice rod because it sells for 80. If I can find this on sale, I'll take
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah.
They had a sale for $65 on those rods, and I'm like, this is dope. But I'm like,
Yeah.
let me look around and stuff.
Mhm.
I found one on the clearance rack, and I looked it over and
Yeah.
stuff to make
Yeah,
sure,
dude.
like, are
The
there any
clearance rack.
defects? Like, are there any defects? And it's like, for whatever reason, like, this one must have been like last year's model or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any defects, any problems. Like, this is a perfectly good rod.
Mhm. Mhm.
It wasn't exactly what I wanted. It was a little bit shorter than what I wanted, but I'm like, I
Okay.
can't pass up this deal. 39.98 is half off. And that's why
Fuck.
it's like, look at
Yeah,
your clearance racks and
dude.
stuff. And I've pulled these deals
Hell
all
yeah.
over the place. And that's just like, how you put together an arsenal, especially when,
Right.
if you're trying to be a more avid fisherman, you like to have the different setups, like,
Right.
to
Good
be able
point.
to get
Yeah.
the cheaper setups together is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. We've talked about that plenty of times in the past about how like this is why fishing is an expensive hobby to have, an expensive
mhm,
sport to participate in. If you look at the pros on the bass tour, right? They're just like jack full of
right.
rods and
Oh
reels and
yeah.
combos and like we've talked about and that it all goes back to clearance rack, long game.
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah, it's
Because you just explained how this is how you get an arsenal. This is how you build your arsenal. This is how you
yeah.
get all of those different setups. Like, I mean, that's how you ended that. And it's like, yeah, dude. I
Yeah,
hope it sets in for the because it's just the way it sets in for me is just like, yeah, you're just
right.
making it so clear. It's just not something I would have thought of on my own without having this conversation because of the way you just explained it. Like, it's, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So, real quick before we move off of clearance rack stuff, because I got
Oh,
other
we don't have to
tips.
move off clearance rack stuff for the whole rest of the topic if we don't want to.
Oh yeah, well, that works then.
We'll go into whatever you want to. I'm just
So
saying.
I don't know if I have much more else than, well, it's not really clearance rack stuff.
Yeah.
So here, I'll touch on it this way, not the clearance rack stuff.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of clearance rack stuff. Walmart.
Hmm.
I'll tell you a couple things about Walmart real quick. Walmart almost always has like their kind of bargain bin items, but it's
Hmm.
just the bottom shelf. For
Oh.
whatever reason, there's just shit on the bottom shelf that's like $1 all the time. There's just dollar items down on the bottom. And you're
Okay.
like, "Why?" I don't understand. I remember going into and every Walmart is different. They
Yep.
put the baits in based off of what they think that you will fish. My Walmart that's just down the street from me, I cannot buy musky lures at. I go just
Oh,
down the road for the one
okay.
that's closer to the river, and
Yeah.
there are musky lures in that Walmart.
Really?
Not a lot of them, but there are some. And
But
then
they
like,
actually stock them in comparison to the one that's nearby, further away
yeah,
from the river where there's
yep.
just none.
They're another one that marks down all their ice fishing stuff too, but at least the ice fishing selections that they have here are horseshit. So that one is like don't it's like the
Don't
smallest
depend on
chunk.
them.
No, it's the smallest chunk of like it's like the stuff your grandma would get you, just like, "I know you like
Right, right,
fishing."
right.
And you're like, "All this stuff sucks, grandma." Like she
Right,
doesn't
right, but you're
know.
like,
They're
"Thanks,
just lures.
grandma, Christmas was
Yeah.
awesome."
Right, exactly.
More junk from grandma, that's
Right.
fine. It's the thought that counts,
Right.
she doesn't get it.
Right, exactly. You're just like, "I'll try to use it, grandma," but you're just like, "I'm not wasting my time with this shit." But so, the bottom, like, you can find some good deals there, and I
Mhm,
say that every Walmart is different because some of them don't have the deals. I remember going
mhm,
out. My sister-in-law lives like an hour and a half away, and we went
mhm,
to the Walmart that they live in, and when I went there, they had Yum. Yum
mhm,
is a soft plastic brand. They make some other stuff too, but I really like their soft plastics. They're always like on the cheaper end anyways.
mhm,
That's a good bargain tip, just like if you're going out and not trying to find bargain hunting, like the Yum product soft
mm,
plastics.
mhm.
You can find soft plastics that are rival anything else, and they're like $2 to $3 less a pack. It's
Oh,
crazy. I
wow.
don't really understand where their money
Like
comes
right.
in. Yeah, but
How the hell
it's
do they do that? Right, but I
yeah,
gotcha.
it's pretty impressive shit. But I do buy other stuff because I like the way they move and stuff.
Right,
So
of course.
it's whatever.
Right.
But when we went out there, they sell those for like, I want to say it's like 360 or something a pack,
Mhm,
and they had that type of deal. It was on the bottom rack, and they had the
mhm.
packs for $1, and I bought every single one they had. I'm just like,
You
I'm
just
buying
dug
all of
through
these.
the bottom rack like, "I'm fucking buying every
Dude,
single one they have."
not even like dug through the bottom rack. There was like a box of the Yums, and I scanned
Yeah.
it, and I was like, "This says it's $1." And I scanned another one, and it's like, "This says it's $1." And then they just took the box. I'm like,
I just
"All of
took
these
the
are mine now."
box.
Colors that I don't even use. I'm like, "Eventually, these will come in handy. I will use these."
Right, right, right.
Like for a
Again,
dollar a piece. I
long game.
can't. I'm buying all of them.
Fuck yes, dude.
So I had a bunch of Yums that I didn't have to like re up anything else for a long time because it's crazy. So Walmarts are crazy like that, that they just like for whatever reason they go on sale.
Yeah.
They've kind of reverted to normal rods now where they don't have a lot to choose from. It's like they have Berkeley, they do have those ugly stick carbons.
Uh-huh.
Berkeley makes some rods, like a Berkeley lightning rod. Like if you're a budget fisherman,
Mhm.
if you're trying to get in right now, a Berkeley lightning rod is an excellent rod to get.
Oh, okay.
A low price, like casting or spinning rods, low price. Like if you
Oh,
want a
wow.
cheap one, like
Mhm,
I would say probably try not to cheap out on your reels and stuff, but you can get away
mhm.
with using a Berkeley lightning rod. And I think they sell for like
Nice.
$30 all the time, maybe 39 or something,
Sure.
but full
Yeah.
price at that. And if you find one of those on sale, what you're talking $20?
Right,
It's
or less even depending
yeah,
on the
yeah.
right day.
So for whatever reason, like fishing got hot at one point, and Walmart was like, "We're gonna get into this high end fishing game," and they started selling all sorts of high end rods, and I'm like, "What the fuck is
Wow.
going on?" Like
Was
Walmart's
this
just
during
in
the
the
pandemic when? Because remember how we
no,
talked about how
no, it was before the pandemic. It was real weird. Like when the
interesting.
pandemic hit, it was like the run was over. So I don't know if some of the Walmarts in
Hmm,
your area are still running these,
right.
or maybe in different bass fishing community, like more heavy bass fishing communities, they're still selling these high end rods because they know that the bass fishermen are spending this extra money on the rods and stuff. But even the walleye rods and stuff, one of my favorite rods is a spinning rod. It is a Wright and McGill um Wright and McGill is like the Eagle Claw company, if you're
Oh, yeah.
familiar with Eagle Claw.
Yeah, I
But Wright
am.
and
Yeah.
McGill is like the parent company, and they make some really quality stuff. And they have a walleye series. Tony Roach is a very famous walleye fisherman,
Okay.
and Skeet Reese is a famous bass fisherman.
Bass, I was gonna
And
say.
he's got like these black and yellow like honeycomb
Mhm.
rods. They sold those there, and the Tony Roach ones. I have one of each. I ended up breaking the Skeet Reese one. It was just a little tiny light thing. I think I still have it like set up for panfish or something.
Okay.
But both of those I got ridiculously priced because for whatever reason, if you watch their website, this is the tip here.
Okay.
When you find a rod or you find anything that you're looking at, especially if it's a higher ticket item and it costs more money, go to Walmart's website.
Okay.
They had that ski or the Tony Roach one
Okay.
was an $80 rod. It was like 79.98, like just like the carbon.
Sure.
And for whatever reason, online they had that thing priced at $32 and they price
Whoa.
matched it in
Oh!
store. I
Oh,
got that. It's
shit.
one of my favorite rods. I still use it. I've had it for like 10 years.
Oh my god,
And it
dude.
yeah, it was like $32. So when you're like, even if you're
Yeah.
not looking at buying a rod and you see a rod, if you have a little bit of time and you're like, maybe this rod, like just look online, because then you just go pulling the trigger. It's like 60% off for some
Right.
reason.
I'm bringing this motherfucker to customer service.
Right, exactly.
Damn,
Yeah,
dude.
I
That shit
don't
is
understand.
crazy.
Walmart's weird like that. Sometimes they will price match their website, and for whatever
All of
reason,
them are like that
sometimes
because,
yeah.
like, Target is not the place to go for any it's sort of like fishing or hunting or anything like that. They just
Oh
don't
yeah,
they
right,
don't they just don't stock that stuff. They got tents and fucking air mattresses. But
right,
that was my experience when I worked at Target was the website was different. It
oh
very
yeah,
easily could be different, and price matches happened all the time. That is a great hot tip because I never thought to do that for Walmart or other bigger, there's going to be other bigger companies that do that. I'm sure like a Bass Pro Shop would do that too or something like that does a lot of moving on their website, but like they're two different things. Just like you said, Walmart down the street is different than the Walmart 6 blocks down closer to the river. The
right,
website is different. It's a different team running that.
exactly.
They're
Yep,
marketing to different people. The Walmart in Minnesota is not the Walmart down in Arkansas, where maybe they are still going nuts with the fishing stuff. And if they are, let us know. Like, put it in the comments. We
right,
all want to
right,
know.
right.
But
Yeah,
seriously, not just a plug for our comments, but dead serious is like that's the sort of stuff that the internet has allowed us to do is do these price matches, do these comparisons.
right.
Hot tip, dude.
Yeah,
For real. I
and
didn't even
just
think about it, even having
right.
had that like firsthand experience of having to
Yep.
price match all the time.
Yeah. And just uh I would say too, make sure you go to their website, because for whatever reason, like you can do their like scanner deal. They have it
Oh
where
yeah,
it's
like
like,
you scan the barcode,
yeah,
right? With
that
your
goes
phone,
based off
with
your
your
zip
smartphone.
code for whatever reason. And it
Mhm.
knows like what your store like has it priced at.
Yep.
But if you just type it into the website, it'll show you like what it's priced at as a
Yep.
whole.
Right.
And I've found some killer deals like that on there.
Good
So
point. Yep. Yep.
yeah, Walmart is a crazy spot. Like I'm definitely not saying it's my favorite spot to go fishing for your like finding stuff, but
Going
like I'm
fishing for
there
fishing gear.
buying, yeah, it's like I'm there buying other stuff, and I'll always check it out. And then every
Yeah.
once in a while you walk away with a rod that's way cheaper than it should be.
That's
The
sick,
reels
dude.
get a little bit harder. The reels you got to look for sale items and stuff for most part. Not at
Okay.
Walmart, just in general. Like
Right.
reels
Right.
normally. Oh, here's another budget one. Me and you both got pink Fluger Presidents. Why?
Bam.
Because the Fluger President, for whatever reason, the lady one, when it's pink, that one goes on sale and the blue one doesn't.
Yep.
It's the
Yep.
exact same reel, but it's just a different color.
It's
If
just a
you
different color.
are not some guy that's got to just be like, I'm not getting pink, you know, just go buy it. It's the same. It's the same reel.
Yeah.
I'm using the pink reel in our crappie spawn video.
It is in the dude. It is. That's right. Thank you for pointing that out. 100%. You are using that reel. It's the exact one. Yeah. And I did. The reason why I got one was because you're like, you know that rod that Sam gave us? Sam's are not on the podcast. He's a character in our podcast, but he's not on it.
Right.
Sam got us a reel, got us a rod, sick rod.
Yep.
And I was
That's the same rod I'm using in the video too.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Sick rod. We got it. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. You're like, don't worry, I got you. 2 weeks later, sends me a text. Go to Fleet Farm. This right here. It's on sale. Zipped up to Fleet Farm. Sure enough. That's it. It was game over. It was just like, oh yeah, here's the blue one. Here's the pink one. It's $20 off. Go get it. I said, all right.
Yeah, same thing. It's just a different color. And
so stupid.
People are just like, oh, I don't really want the pink. And it's just like I get that you don't, I get that you would prefer the blue one. But if I told you it's $20 less,
right?
You know, are you going to take the pink one?
Right.
Yep.
Go get the fucking pink one.
So it's stuff like that where like you just got to keep an eye out. Sometimes colors, I do that all the time with stuff that I'm looking for, where it's like the color's not exactly what I wanted, but whatever, it's
yeah. That's a really good point about the colors, because I'm glad to hear that it applies to fishing, because it applies to electronics and stuff in my area too.
Right.
Like, the matte black one sells out immediately and then goes on eBay for 30% over.
Yeah.
If you wait 6 weeks, the light blue one goes on sale for 30% off. It's just
that's like stuff depending on where you're at. Like I would say, like if you're traveling someplace, the colors of the lures sell different. There's a lot of like color, like dingy water stuff goes on sale up north where all the waters are crystal clear. Like not a lot of people are buying those dingy water things.
Right. So they sit on the rack for too long and then they have to fucking clearance them.
Yep. And then you go down south where like they have a lot of dirty water and like nobody's buying any of the clear water shit.
Right.
Yeah. It's that one's a little bit harder, where it's just like
but you're moving around.
Right spot, right time. Yeah.
If you're moving around, that's a good tip. Can we talk live bait for a second? I don't want to miss any of the points you have, but I have live bait.
Let's talk live bait, and then I just wanted to touch on sale, like just sales in general.
Oh, okay. Live bait, you can harvest sometimes. And that was my, like, in my research, that was kind of my hot tip sort of budget thing. Is like, that live bait just exists out in the world, right?
Right. Yeah. It's everywhere. You can go and get your own worms. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything. Which, by the way, I found out worms are invasive. I don't know if we covered that in like one of our first podcasts when we did night crawlers, but like, I guess worms are invasive to Minnesota. That doesn't make what?
Really?
And I think we did talk about how you're supposed to throw them away and not throw them in the woods, or not throw them in the. But yeah, I guess they're invasive. Anyways, let's not dive into that.
I heard about some new. Just since you're saying it, I heard about some new invasive worm that's called like a jumping worm, and it can actually like jump, and it like squirms sideways like a sidewinder snake.
I actually think we talked about that quickly already.
Did we?
Yeah, dude, I think we did talk about it. I mean, the podcasts were shorter then, but
if I see a worm coming at me sideways and it jumps, I'm just gonna be like, oh,
what the fuck, dude. But yes,
my wife told me about it, and the first thing I thought was just like, so you're telling me that there's a worm out there that swims like a leech? Because that sounds like money for walleyes.
That's your first thought. Not that this is a jumping worm or invasive, but
I don't know if I would want that though. You like open the worm thing and it like jumps at you. Like, ugh.
I know, it feels weird.
I'll buy leeches. Thank you.
But so live bait is it's live, and in many like there are still DNR regulations around it in a lot of like our wildlife management. I always say DNR because that's what it's called here in Minnesota. I know that's not what it's called everywhere else. But frogs, crayfish, looked them up. They're good
Yeah.
to go. In fact,
Frogs are easy to
I've
catch.
tried live frogs before.
Yeah.
It's
Frogs are
weird,
easy to catch.
but they're easy to catch.
Frogs make you feel bad though.
Yeah, it kind of does. I know.
Because they have their front hands and they like grab onto the hook.
Yep.
They're just like holding onto the hook in their face, and you're just like,
Yep.
I don't
And
like this.
yeah, it feels weird.
Uh,
Yep. 100% honest. It feels weird.
yeah, it feels weird.
But
So
it's possible.
it's
Crayfish
possible.
too. Like their
Yeah.
live bait is a real thing. Worms, I didn't see where you couldn't. I'm not gonna say you
Right.
can,
No, you
but
can for sure. You can catch. Yeah, you can catch
yeah.
worms. They're all over the place. You can dig for them yourself, or like it's pretty easy. Like if you find some farmland or whatever, if you can just find
Oh,
some rocks,
yeah,
like just
yeah.
overturn a rock. They're
Well,
like right underneath the rocks all the time.
right,
There's
right,
all
because
sorts
that's
of
their
shit.
moisture. That
Yeah.
like low
Fish,
moisture.
yeah, fish will eat a lot of stuff if you're willing to grab it. Like tree grubs and stuff are supposed to work pretty good, but those things like bite you and stuff. I don't want to touch them. So
Like
like,
even poop maggots in the dog bin where the dog poop's
yeah,
been sitting.
dude, maggots are Eurolarva. That's what they are.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's for ice fishing. Like those are maggots. It's just
Yeah.
like maggots doesn't sell well, so you call
It,
them Eurolarva.
right. Or even waxworms. Like you look at a waxworm, it's like, okay, maybe that's not officially a maggot, but look at a picture of a maggot and look at a waxworm.
Yeah, pretty
It's a
much.
fucking maggot,
Pretty
dude.
much. Yeah. I think the difference is like a waxworm has like a head, like a bug. That one actually
Right.
looks kind of like a bug, where a Eurolarva is just
Sure.
like that is
Just straight
clearly
up a
just a maggot.
worm.
That is straight up maggot, bro. Like
Sure,
that
sure.
is
I get what you're
disgusting.
saying.
And they turn
So,
into flies. I think I've said that before. If you leave the Eurolarva in the
yep,
thing
yep,
long
yep.
enough, all of a sudden you just have a
Right.
little thing full of flies. It's
I was like,
disgusting.
yep. You have said that before. And that was so yeah, I mean, that was the other thing is like you can go, that you can just go and get live bait. So you don't necessarily have to if you got a hook,
Yeah,
you got some
yeah,
weight, you can go
yeah.
get your own
Like
bait. Like
a
that's a
scuba.
budget ass move.
Right, yeah, if you have access to water or whatever, what is a scoop of minnows is like $3.50 if it's crappie minnows, like at the least, and like
Sure.
shiners and stuff. If you're lucky enough to find some of the shiners in the lake, shiners they sell by the half dozen. Like it's like 4 or 5 bucks for like a half dozen, I think. So
It's
that's
like
like
a
six
dollar a
minnows.
fish. You just round up again,
I
right?
think, yeah, I think a small minnow trap is only like $20. So if you have access to water, $20 if you can keep catching them or you know where to put it. Like we have it at my parents' cabin. We throw it in the water and there'll be like smaller crappie minnows and stuff that'll swim in there. And then
Nice.
you have crappie minnows. And some
Nice.
days
Yeah.
you only catch baby sunfish and stuff, and then you put them in a
Right.
then you put them in a fish bowl because the kids love staring at them. You just leave them in there for a little bit and then you let them go again. But
Yeah. But
um,
it was just something I wanted to bring up because I was just like, I don't think a lot of people will think of that. Or like even in learning experience, it's just I don't think it's something people have told to them, right? Because I never
right,
did.
right,
And then I was just like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just started looking this shit up and I was like, oh no, you can. Because
yeah,
you go and you buy worms, you go and you buy fish. And I'm like, I see
right,
fish and I see worms.
yeah.
Can I
Bass
fish
and
with them?
panfish will pretty much eat anything that you put in there. It might
Sure.
not be the best bait, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to save some money, any bug, any little, worm that you find, they'll eat all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever you
Yeah.
have the means of catching. You can
Right.
catch grasshopper, that'll work. Whatever you got. It, it
It's
works.
crazy. I know I would have never thought of that, but yeah,
Dude,
sure.
my favorite thing, because I hate spiders. Like if there's a spider on the side of the boat, I'll flick him in the water and watch him get ate up by like sunfish. I'm like, serves you right, serves you right. You just get off my boat. This
Serves
is
you
my
right,
boat.
motherfucker.
This is stupid spider in your 8 legs. But
So, one more quick thing is like Minnesota has state parks, and
yeah,
I'm sure your state does too. You can fish for free, no license. Like just another budget thing. Now there's exceptions.
I
There's exceptions.
there are
Would you?
exceptions. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that, but you have to have like a pass to go there, right? Or is that just
Well,
parking most of the time?
that's the thing I don't know because I don't frequent state parks enough. But
Okay,
I can say that, like, there's exceptions, but, like, there's designated, like, state parks, right? That, you just you can go fishing for free, and there you go. I mean, there's
Nice.
still rules
Yeah.
in place, of course, like, you can only have so many walleyes, so, like, you still have to read your fishing regs and know your fishing regs, but it's
Right.
just the license part that you can skip over, right? So if you're close
Right. Right.
enough,
Right.
hey, there's just another buck or 2 that's, saved, and it's from shore, don't bring the boat, don't be weird, like, it's from the pier that's there. It's not
Right.
one of those
Right.
situations where you just, like, bring your $100,000 bass boat in your $150,000 Dodge and
Right. Right.
fishing for free. It's like,
Right.
you took it too far, you took it too far. It's
Right.
like a reasonable when you look at it, you're like, "This is made for budget fishing." It's totally written in the
Yeah.
law to be a budget fishing
Right.
sort of situation. It's sick.
Yeah, it's like a perfect like starter. Like, I don't know if I'm really
Yeah.
into this. I don't know if I should pay for this. Like, well, see if you can find yourself one of those piers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go
yeah.
fish out there,
Right. Yeah.
Find one of those piers, visit Walmart online, get yourself a cheap rod, and then
Right,
go dig up
right.
some bait
Yeah,
and see if you
exactly.
like it.
You don't have to be the super expensive hobby thing that we were talking about. So,
Right. And you can
that we've talked
always
about
find
before, and now
yeah.
we're trying to kind of, like, tamp that down a little bit because it may
Yeah.
have scared people off, which is the
And you
opposite of what we wanna do.
and you can always find used stuff too.
Oh,
Fishing
word.
rods and reels and stuff, there's a lot of
Not
used
even
stuff
just
that
boats, like you started with.
yeah. Just a lot of gas stations, a lot of garage sales.
Garage sales, dude.
Garage sales will have stuff where they're just like, I'm not
Hell yeah.
really I decided I don't want to fish anymore or whatever, and they're just like, sometimes I don't even know if they like really plan on not fishing. It's just like they're like, "Oh, we're selling all this stuff. Throw those fishing rods. I don't think I
Right.
need those fishing
No.
rods."
Yeah, I agree, I
So
agree.
it's not always like great stuff, but if you're just trying to start out, I mean, you can
Mhm,
get a heck of a deal on that. Like I was
mhm,
working with some special needs kids at one point in my life, and I
mhm.
wanted to take them fishing. I went to a garage sale and got a bunch of rods and reels because I was like,
Nice. Hell
they
yeah, dude.
I not trying to talk shit about the kids, but they didn't know what they
No.
were doing, and I'm like, "You're not gonna
Right.
be using my shit, I'll get
Yeah,
you
yeah,
this
yeah.
cheap
No,
stuff on
no,
the
it's
garage
totally
sale."
yeah.
And then we all went fishing and stuff. So and we went
That's
off a
sick.
pier, and when they're younger, kids don't need to have a license until they're 16.
Oh, good point, yeah. I
So,
mean, it's
yeah.
different per state, but I'm pretty sure it's
Oh,
different
yeah,
per
yeah.
state, but, like,
Yeah.
you make a really good point is that getting kids fishing doesn't have to be part of your expense necessarily,
Right.
right? Like, the
Yep.
hand-me-down stuff can go and they don't need a license, and, like, you can just have your little
Exactly.
partner there with you.
Right. Yep. So before I
Yeah,
think we're probably about to
yeah,
wrap up
before
this
we start to
topic,
wrap, for sure, yeah, I wanna
but
get to your stuff, yeah.
just wanted to hit the sales real quick. Just beware of like everything has a sale almost every single week, and like check out like Fleet Farm has their flyers.
Mhm,
Cabela's is running stuff all the time. Shields is running stuff all the time.
mhm, mhm.
And they'll just have like one thing here and there go on sale. So like look at that flyer all the
Okay.
time because that's where you're going to get the deals on the higher end stuff that you want. And
Oh, okay, okay.
electronics a lot of times too when you're trying to find like new depth finders or whatever,
Yeah.
they'll go on sale like here and there. Like when you get into like springtime, it's like, oh, it's the spring fishing sale. Like we're getting ready. And then
Yeah, yeah,
after that, it'll just be like, it's a regular fishing sale or whatever. And then they'll just be like,
yeah.
4th of July sale will like have like everything that we have that has an American flag on it. And then
Mm,
plus there's one rod and one reel or whatever that it'll
mhm.
just be like a very select amount of things that go on sale. But if you keep
Yeah.
an eye on that, like almost
Good point.
everything that you want to buy that doesn't normally like get marked on clearance because it's awesome stuff will come on sale eventually. You just have to keep an eye out for that stuff, and everybody has it, and everybody has their own like um markdown area too. Like I know
Sure.
Cabela's has the bargain cave. Like if you go online, that's another one.
Mm,
Online is killing it these days. If you
right.
put in bargain cave or bargain bin, almost every single online website
Nice.
for lures and stuff
Mm,
has that on their website even. So you
really?
don't even need to go into the stores. I think I find the
Sick.
best deals in stores with their random clearance tags that nobody knows about. You just gotta kinda like scour the racks and all of a sudden you'll find
Yeah.
like a weird little section. Like Walmart used to just have this big cardboard box where there'd just be like a bunch of rods in there, and nobody really wanted to take the time to pull them out and look at each
And
one and try
look.
to figure it out. But
Right, right.
I know what I'm looking for, like just based off of the rod tips most of the time. So I'm just like looking at the rod tips and I'm like, this one's quality. And then I follow it down to see if it's a good deal.
Right, right.
So,
That's awesome, dude. Good. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That was good. I think we hit this faster. I think we hit this faster than we expected because we like teased it in, I think we teased it in episode 45 and then it was like, yeah, we got to do that sometime.
yeah.
We just got to talking. We're like, fuck it, dude. We're doing it.
We're doing it. We got to tell people, let them know we're hitting we're just into starting this fishing season. If you're trying to get out there, here's some
Right,
tips to
right,
try to get you some deals. And I
right.
know we
And
preach
the
the
small
long
boat thing
game, but
too.
some of it's a little bit like, here's a way to get out.
Right,
Yeah. And the
right,
small boat thing, again, I bought mine used. You can find stuff used out there.
right. Yeah,
Some of that stuff is a little bit harder to come by because there's not as many out there, but who
right.
knows? Who knows what you're going to find? I didn't even know the Sears Game Fisher was a thing until I was
Right, right.
looking for the used Bass Raider, like the same thing that I wanted to buy. And then I found this and I'm
And
like,
this
this is
happened.
the exact same thing I wanted to
Right.
buy, but Sears made one a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, exactly. So sick. And yeah, that's the thing. Like the small boat thing is huge right now. Start of the fishing season, just trying to get into it, whatever it may be. It just felt right to do it. And so
For sure.
here we go. We had to do it. Dropping episode 46, the budget fishing.
There it was.
Now it's time to get into episode 46, random take, buyer's remorse, because I have some shit on my chest that I just need to get off about what I've bought.
Yeah.
And then look
Hey,
back and went, damn, dude, shouldn't have did that.
and again, I just want to give another call out there. If anybody listening has your own tips or tricks or anything that we missed to cover, let us know, because obviously I'm a budget fisherman, and if anybody else is listening to this, they're the same way. If you got some hot tips that we missed, let us know, or you got some tips I don't even know. Whew,
Right. Hell yeah.
I'll
Right.
give you a high
Always
five.
listening. Always listen. Yeah, that's right. Just seriously, it feels so weird to do these plugs, but it's just like the perfect time. Real AF TV, Real AF TV. Remember, real like fishing real. You find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Right. Hit us up. Go to YouTube. Leave it in the comments. We see this stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not just for the plug, man. It's like, yeah, I want to hear
Yeah,
your deal. I want to hear
yeah.
your hot tip for
And
real.
if you give us a tip and you don't want it to, if it's just like, oh, I don't really
DM
want you
us.
to talk about this. Yeah, yeah. DM us. Just let us know. I won't put it out there, but if you are cool with sharing it with everybody, shit, we'll throw it up in the next episode. Just be like, we
Yeah.
talked about this last episode. This person said this, and good looking out,
Right. Yeah. For
So
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. All right. Let's get into that random take. Buyer's remorse, because I got some shit I want to talk about.
All right.
Hit it.